Hi, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, good morning.
Good morning, Rasastai Master. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shivasati Leela Ki Jai. I think we stopped here. Sati sat on Mount Kailash, stringing flowers into a garland for her husband. Shiva's ghostly followers stood nearby, ready to execute her every desire. Hearing laughter, she looked about. Oh, I think we already did that, right? Yeah. I think we stopped here. Would you like to start reading, Mataji, any of you?
Okay, from where I have to read? Seeing Shiva's?
Yeah, I think she was.
Seeing Shiva's displeased look, Sati spoke earnestly. My affectionate family members will all be there. I long to see them. The ritual will be performed by great sages, and the arena will be grandly decorated with so many beautiful flags flapping in the wind. Can you imagine? Oh, how I would like to see it all. Shiva averted his eyes and said nothing. Sati became more insistent. For all these reasons, my dear husband, I am anxious to go. Shiva stood up and began to leave. Catching his arm, Sati said, I, oh best of the gods, how can a daughter remain undisturbed?
Wait 1 second. I think, oh yeah, here. I know. Yeah, please.
I know you are not attracted to social events. You see this world for what it is, a phenomenal interaction of nature's three modes. But I am just a simple woman. I am not fixed in the truth like you. It is only natural that I wish to visit my birthplace once more. Shiva looked compassionately at his young wife but made no reply. Sati caught hold of his hand. My lord, although you are fixed in transcendence and never experience material suffering, I know you are supremely sympathetic toward those who do. Your throat is blue due to drinking an ocean of poison to save the gods. Please show me the same kindness. Not only will my relatives be there, but so will all the other celestial wives. Anyone, everyone will be wearing their finest outfits. She pointed upward. See how their flocks of white airplanes have made the entire sky appear charming. O best of the gods, how can a daughter remain undisturbed when she hears of a festival at her father's house? At the mention of Sati's father, a shadow passed over Shiva's features as he remembered Daksha's animosity towards him. He had not told Sati how her father had publicizedly insulted him. He merely said they had a misunderstanding because he failed to rise when Daksha entered the assembly. Looking at Sati's earnest upturned face, he smiled and spoke gently. Dear one, we have not been invited. Sati stamped her foot. That doesn't matter. There is no harm in going to a friend's house or to one's father's, husband's, or spiritual master's home without an invitation. Pressing her husband's hand to her face, she pleaded, O immortal Shiva, be merciful and fulfill my desire. You have accepted me as half of your body. Please therefore accept my request. Shiva stroked his wife's face. If only she had heard Daksha's stringing words. He had he has eyes like a monkey, but he married my daughter whose eyes are like a dove. Shiva said, My dear beautiful wife, it is true that ordinarily there is no problem in going to a friend's house without an invitation. However, if due to false ego and pride, the so-called friend becomes angry when he sees you and openly criticizes you, even insulting your appearance, then it is best to avoid him. Sati gasped, My father is learned, cultured, and austere. He descends from an illustrious heritage. He would never lose his temper and criticize anyone for something so superficial as their looks. Shiva
Mm.
sighed. High-class persons like Daksha do indeed have six.
Let's stop there. See, she was so confident about Daksha's behavior, etc. Because sometimes we don't know the interaction of the three modes with different people. Okay, as an astrologer, I have seen that people have compatibilities. Some of us we get along with some people, and some of us irritate us, agitate us. And with Sati, Daksha has always been nice and kind, and she has seen him as highly cultured, and she's talking about one side of his personality, right? Which he has shown. So sometimes people may show a specific part of themselves to us, and we can never even imagine that they can have another side that can actually be very vicious or jealous or, oh my God, what to speak of it. Okay. Um,
She was so confident that he could not say all these words.
yeah, she wouldn't believe. Sometimes it happens, right? We don't believe. We don't believe that somebody can be insulting, or somebody can have character defects, which we may adore somebody, we may admire somebody. It may be our temple president, it may be somebody we honor, and it may be our husband, it may be our father. And we always usually take the side of the person that we know, right? But we don't know how the other person behaves with others. This we do not know, and it can be difficult, because as she's saying, she has basic needs for connection. Yeah. Thank you, Rasastali Mataji. Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, are you able to read 6 exalted qualities?
Yeah, sure.
You can start read from here. Shiva side, like cross paper.
Shiva's side, high-class persons like Daksha do indeed have six exalted qualities: education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage. However, pride in such attributes blinds one to the glories of great personalities and make him lose his good sense. One should not go to, yeah.
We'll pause there. We may have had even personal experience when we connect with somebody very talented, right? They impress us. We're very impressed by their abilities and character and their skills. At the same time, when we come closer to them and we actually see their hearts in close-up view, and we actually see that person to be proud or not humble or arrogant, it doesn't impress us anymore, right? We like, okay, yeah, the person is skilled, but it doesn't fit the beauty of it.
One should not go to such a person's house uninvited simply on the consideration that they are a relative or friend. You will only be rudely snubbed. Dear Sati, an enemy's sharp arrow do not hurt as much as the unkind words of relative. The grief thus inflicted burns the heart day and night. Sati hand flew to her chest. Was Shiva insulting that her father would insult her? How was that possible? As his youngest daughter, she had a special bond with him. Even if Shiva would not go, she would go alone. Shiva understood her mind. Beautiful lady, surely of Daksha, many daughters, you are his favorite. Nevertheless, be assured that because you are my wife, if you go to his house, you will be snubbed and dishonored. You may even end up feeling ashamed of our connection. Satish chest heavy. How did you make my father so angry? Daksha has always hated me for the same reason the demons hate Krishna, because I am his spiritual superior. My father is not like the demon. Maybe he detected some envy in you which angered him. I envy none, nor have I ever wronged your father. Lord Vishnu is my witness. If you doubt this, then go into a yogic trance and ask the Lord personally. I believe you, but should you not have at least stood when he entered? After all, he is your father in law. It surely behooved you to show him some respect.
This is um, important section where the discussion happens, clarification happens, and this is like a lesson for us. Like we have to understand the other person if we really care about them. Where do they come from? What is their intention? What is their purpose? Please continue.
Oh, beautiful one, it is true that normally friends and relatives greet each other by standing, speaking, and welcoming words and offering obeisances. However, self realized soul offer their respect to the super soul residing within and not to the conditioned soul who ignorantly identifies with the material body. At the time your father entered, I was seeing the Supreme Lord while in a trance. How could you have been in a yogic trance in the midst of such a busy assembly? Shiva struggled. I do not decide when the Lord will appear. That is his decision. You know that I am always absorbed in thinking how best to serve him. Vishnu manifests according to his own will in the mind of anyone who is in such pure consciousness. Sati turned away, her heart pounded. Shiva was speaking the truth. He was a pure hearted, self realized soul. Yet it was hard to believe her father would publicly insult anyone. He was a wonderful man. This was all an unfortunate misunderstanding. She needed to go and speak to him. When she explained everything to him, he would understand, and the rift between him and Shiva would be healed. She glanced back at her husband. He could tell from the defiant look in her eyes that she had made up her mind to go alone. Shiva said, My dearest, your father should undoubtedly be respected by you even more than me. After all, he gave you this body. Still, my beloved, I ask you not to go. He hates me and he insulted me cruelly, even though I was innocent. If you ignore my instruction, I am worried some mishap will befall you. He may also insult you because you are my wife. Oh, Krishna. I mean, Shiva told everything to Sati that you see. I didn't know that this much detail Shiva told to Sati that there's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
He does. I fear you will die. After all, to be insulted by a loved one is worse than death for a respectable person.
Okay, we'll pause there. Oh my God, right? Like Lord Shiva, I mean, he's Lord Shiva, okay? He knew everything. He knows the past, present, and future. He knew what's gonna happen. It's just that, oof, sometimes it's like that. It needs, some chapter needs to end. It is quite intense. And that's why we should listen, Guru Sadhu Shastra. Otherwise, no, if we follow our minds, it will kill us, literally kill us. Yeah. Any comments or questions?
Shiva is trying his best to convey Sati, but she's so. Like he told everything that this gonna happen, this gonna happen, and I think she must be knowing that he's a Trikaldar. She can see everything, but still that affection, and she was thinking, no, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Overconfident.
I have a comment.
Mhm.
When someone feels insulted, mostly in the world we see it's their ego coming into play, and in this case, Shiva's case, I think we should realize that that is not come into play for him to feel insulted.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
And also one more thing, I know in India there's a lot of people who think Lord Shiva is the supreme, is in a higher platform than Lord Vishnu, and wouldn't this passage that we read that Lord Shiva was in a trance and meditating on Lord Vishnu, wouldn't that be a very easy proof to show them that Shiva was worshipping Vishnu?
Yeah, it should be. Actually, Prabhuji, we discussed about this some time ago because when Kapila and Devahuti's pastime was going on, and actually it was after that, even when Daksha's progenitors came about, when who was it? Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, remind me? When Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar all appeared, the
Which pastime, Mataji?
just some time ago we were reading about when Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar all appear when he asks for the Supreme Lord to come. He wanted a son like the Lord, and then he has these three sons. Two sons.
Anusuya, I think.
No, I mean, is it what's her husband's name? Atri. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Atri and Anusuya.
So, so Prabhuji, in this pastime of Atri and Anusuya who do tapasya, then he prays for the Supreme Lord to appear. And then all the three will appear, Supreme Lords, all will appear. Vishnu will appear, Brahma will appear, and Shiva will appear. And then he says, but I asked Supreme to come. And then we discussed in detail about how when we say like in Mayapur, there is Mayapur temple, TAVP, or there is this long building. If you've been to Mayapur, they say, oh, this was built by Prabhupada, we may say, right? And somebody may say, no, this was built by Jayapatak Maharaj. Somebody else is saying, no, it was built by the architect such and such. Somebody else is saying, no, it was actually built by the workers who kept the bricks and, put the cement and everything. So who was it actually built by? All of them, right? In one sense. So they are supreme in different levels. We read that they have their own level of supremacy, right? But the only one supreme personality of Godhead is Krishna. So, for example, you asked this very nice question, right? Why this? People don't immediately get it that Shiva is worshipping and meditating on Vishnu, right? And then somebody will say, yeah, but Lord Ram worshipped Shiva externally. Here we are seeing that Shiva is meditating on Vishnu. Okay, well and good. But you know that when Rama appeared, who's also supposed to be Vishnu, he's Vishnu, he actually worshipped Shiva, right? So who is superior? So what I'm saying is on the tattva aspect, on the taratamya aspect, on the hierarchical aspect of so who is superior, who is supreme personality of God, who is the most powerful. There is the theological aspect, the philosophical aspect, which is very clear because of Gaudiya Vaishnavism and our clarity of acharyas who give us all the scriptures. We have that. At the same time, on the rasa aspect, on the aspect of mellows and relational connections and all that, some people may say, no, Shiva is supreme, and they have faith that Shiva is supreme because even there are people who believe that Durga is supreme. For example, there is Devi Bhagavata. In the Devi Bhagavata, it's very clearly mentioned about how the goddess Durga is supreme. Like that. So I'm saying that there are levels and layers of reality which can be and need to be understood on like I said, these two levels, on a theological, philosophical, Siddhanta level of understanding, hey, what's what, who's who, and then there is the rasa level of yes, Shiva does worship Vishnu, and Shiva is the greatest among the devotees, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho, and also he has his level of supremacy. You know that story when Shiva tells his two sons, Ganesh and Kartikeya, he says, my dear sons, go around the world and go and circumambulate the world, right? And then immediately Kartikeya jumps on his peacock and rushes off to the task. And Ganesh is peacefully just going circumambulating the mother and father. He circumambulates Shiva and Parvati. And then they ask, hey, what are you doing? And then Ganesh says, well, you asked me to circumambulate the universe, and I'm circumambulating you both. You are the universe, So, and that's why Ganesh is very, very clever, very, very smart. So what I'm trying to say, Prabhuji, is that there are different levels of reality, and there are different levels of understanding supremacy, etc. And for some people, they understand supremacy according to their level of realization, their level of openness and willingness. And for us, we are very lucky because we have our Vaishnavacharyas. We got in touch with ISKCON. We follow Srila Prabhupada, who's very, very, very clear about demigods and Vishnu and the separation and the hierarchy. Very, very clear. Who has Prabhupada? Who has? Which organization has Prabhupada? Nobody else has. And one last point is that in our organization, we do have need to update our behavior and understanding about demigods, etc., especially in connection to Shiva, because he is not a demigod for us. He's actually the greatest of the devotees, right? And and my experience, even personal experience, has been that those people who worship Lord Shiva nicely, properly, like with bhakti, especially now in the golden age, Mahaprabhu's time, they will somehow or another, Mahadev will bring them in contact to Krishna consciousness. Somehow he'll give opportunity for them to become devotee. And I have seen that those who are Shiva devotees in their childhood, etc., and they worship him with so much dedication, when they become devotees of Krishna, become very extraordinary devotees, because Shiva has already purified their mind, given them the strength, and showed them the path. So I think we need we can see this point from so many perspectives and angles, and we can see this whole thing on a very broad picture.
One of my devotee friends in India has told me an interesting take on Bhagavad Gita. He was saying Bhagavad Gita, he's actually an ISKCON guy. He said Bhagavad Gita is not meant for non-Vaishnavas, because they won't be able to appreciate that Krishna is the supreme person of Godhead. And because Krishna proclaims that he is supreme, in Bhagavad Gita. And if you sit there and not, accept that, you cannot appreciate Bhagavad Gita, which was interesting.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Prabhu. So we will end here for today. Thank you very much for your attention. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Haribol.
Can you, 1 second, can you both stay back just for a minute?
Okay.